Welcome to the GreenWay Startup Show. My name is Brigitta Balai. My today's guest is Tamas Knecht, the CEO of TK World USA, the investment bank, boutique bank based in Manhattan. Tamas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brigitta, for having me.
Tamas, welcome to the GreenWay Startup Show.
Thank you for having me, Brigitta.
You have got an interesting first name, Tamas.
Thank you.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but my mother was from Transylvania, the Hungarian-spoken part of Romania, and my roots are Hungarian.
Have you ever been in Hungary?
Yes, I have.
And how did you like it?
I liked it. I have family there still.
I see.
I go back from time to time to visit them.
And Tamas, I invited you to this show because you have your own company, the TK World USA, that you established in 1997, and it's an investment boutique company based in Manhattan, right?
Correct. It's based in Manhattan now. We originally started as an import-export trading company in Philadelphia.
And when did you move your company over to Manhattan?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. And tell me, what did you do before your company? So what is your educational background, and what did you do like professionally before starting your own company?
Professionally, I was working with an import-export company and attending school at the same time while at Wharton. I obtained a client from Spain in the interim, and I decided to take that client and start my own company.
So originally, back in time, like 1997, you established your own company, and you based your company on one customer and one client.
Yes. Yes.
And that time, did you have any experience in exporting business?
I did not. I had the experience that I learned with the company that I was previously working with.
So you learned on the spot, right?
Yes.
So tell me about those years. What were the most challenging parts building up your own company? Was it difficult to gain new clients and find new clients networking-wise?
Well, I knew the steps I needed to take to get to the level I wanted to be at, and what I did was teach myself by doing research and reading up on how to create a website and marketing it, spending hours online in the beginning when the internet had just began. In fact, when I started my website and my company, I was the fourth listing under import-export on Google.
And you basically created your own website without any website company?
That's correct.
And it's really interesting. So let me ask you, then you had your own client and you just started out, right? In exporting business, you never had that question in yourself whether you really can make it and how can you provide value to your customer?
Well, I think I was. I've always been ambitious, and I was always entrepreneurial, and I just developed myself over the years through practice.
And since then, that time you had an exporting company, and since then you do more like investment banking, and you finance different projects.
Throughout the years, we've opened up our company to different divisions in which are obviously profitable within the marketplace, and we've learned how to maneuver ourselves in the right arenas.
And what are the right arenas nowadays?
The right arenas right now are finance.
Finance.
We're focusing basically on project finance, international trading with the European banks.
So tell me more about international trading and financing. It's a very interesting topic because I do believe like being involved in international trade, you really need to have your client base and your reputation, right?
Right. Well, you must constantly build your client base.
So how do you build your client base?
Basically, we build obviously by online marketing, which started the TK Export Trading Company in the beginning, and referrals and networking. We've been doing a lot of networking within Manhattan lately, over the last year.
So how would you describe your main customer base? What is the characteristic of your customers?
We receive clientele and projects for financing worldwide now. People research, you know, who's the best and who's the most strategic partner to work with to raise capital for their firm, and apparently we are one of them.
So what is the competitive advantage you can offer your clients?
Everyone says that our rates are fairly reasonable, and we don't take on projects that we can't have an end-all win-win situation.
So do you work your company on your own, and you work with several people together, and how it is actually on an international level?
I'm in the New York headquarters, and I work with several investment bankers and hedge funds and family offices, you know, to look at projects. We work with venture capital firms as well, and we're constantly looking for more exposure to build up our client base.
So when you analyze projects, right, that you are planning to support, what are the main points that you are looking at?
We look for specific industries such as biotech and IT and renewable energies at the moment. That's what we're focusing on this year. In fact, we have a fund available to us specifically for those projects, and that's what we look at.
Can I ask you about the size of the fund you work at?
It's a $2 billion fund.
And it's quite a big number, right? But there are many companies, like much smaller, just starting out like with a great idea. Let's say like startup companies. What is the smallest client you actually work with?
I understand. Well, our criteria is 3 to 5 million to start with. We don't go lower than that. It's not really worth our time. If the client decides to engage us, we ask for, you know, exclusivity and grow with the company. In fact, sometimes we take preferred option stock in the company as well upon funding.
And what is the percentage of the preferred stock, if I can ask you about? Like,
well,
what is the industry standard? I'm not really asking you, but actually your contract base. But what is the industry standard?
Yeah, I don't really follow our competitors. I just focus on our group.
So what are the main projects at the moment you are working on? In what industry?
Clean technology. In fact, we just signed a client today for funding within the next 2 years for a Scandinavian solar project.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, we signed a contract with a financial entity for trading with the U.S. Treasuries.
So Tamas, you just named the biggest projects you are working on at the moment. But tell me, what is the process getting for a business or a business idea or project financing?
Well, we look at the executive summaries and the business plans, which include financials and projections, and we look for specific economic projections within the country the project is.
When you talk about financial projection, are we talking about 5 to 10 years plan?
We're talking about 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
And what is the expected return ratio on investment, let's say in 3 to 5 years?
What we're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. So generally we look to grow at excuse me, a 25% return on investment within 3 years.
Within 3 years.
If not more.
So you are looking at, when evaluating a company, you are looking at the business plan and the country, I believe the demographics, the political situation, right?
Correct.
Are you also like, I believe it's also important, who are the managers of that particular company?
Of course, that's very important. The management background, you know, their profiles, their education and experience.
I understand. So when you are in front of a project, when you are trying to bring the two parties together, what is your best practice that you follow? So somebody is approaching you
right.
with a great project, and obviously everybody's project is the best that you can find on the market. So how you analyze that project and how you convince the investor party to basically finance that project?
Well, we know our investment parties already and what their appetite is for businesses and investment. When a project comes across my desk, I analyze it and talk it over with the board, and we make a unanimous vote on how, if we should proceed or not with the project and funding it, and then we lay down certain terms on how we would like to work with the client and how they need to engage our services to raise the funds for them.
And Tamas, I'm asking you now a serious question, and I'm waiting for an honest answer.
Okay.
Okay. So not every story ends with a happy end, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So what is the percentage in this industry that you have to accept as a failure?
Well, we have an 85% success rate with our companies that we fund.
What percent?
85%.
85.
Yes. I mean, it's reasonable.
And when you are looking at and analyzing that 15%, what is that major factor that led to a failure?
The major factor, I mean, it's case by case, but it depends. They could be from one thing to the other. It could be management disappearing because of the money, etc. But we tend to secure everything through contract and putting even one of our own people in that company to watch management and grow with it. We often take take equity share in the companies we raise capital for.
And you make decision in the board, so you are taking active role in decision making.
That's correct.
So this is how you're trying to avoid like failures of a company.
Of course, yes.
So it also leads to my next question, that you also financing is a very static point, right? But financing also only makes sense if you develop that company as well. Are you taking also active role in business development of those companies?
I don't personally take an active role in business development for our clients. I only concentrate on working, our company, TK World. But we do outsource, professional services for business development at times for our clients. Yes.
So when you see a need, then you basically ready to help your clients and help to with networking and build their team in order to be able to like develop the
That's
company.
correct. Yes.
So Tamas, your clientele is basically, there is a good reason they are choosing working with you. I do believe that all of them finding you a really good professional in this field.
Thank
so
you.
Tell me that what are those unique fundraising techniques that you are basically following in your daily practice?
Well, we do private equity, debt, and venture capital for various different types of companies. It varies on what the needs specific are for the company.
So tell me a little bit more in details about it. For example, like who do you advise to turn into to venture capital?
Well, for example, we have venture capitalists that look to issue debt to startup companies that are in need of just like 3 to 4 million, and in fact, we had an Australian IT company that was looking to raise 20 million for expansion into the U.S. Last year, and we were working with a venture capitalist that was ready to issue a subordinated note, which is a debt instrument in the financial markets, and then later it will be convertible into equity.
And which company should rather choose to work on a private equity level?
We generally look for companies with a stable EBITDA. They have to have some certain type of EBITDA for any of our investors to take an interest in it.
Mm-hmm. Usually companies, Tamas, don't start with looking for a couple of $1 million for funding. So what is your advice to smaller size companies just starting out, but they need $500,000, $1 million?
Well, if they have assets to work with, we can issue them debt on those assets.
And if they don't?
Well, then, everyone has an idea, to be honest with you,
So
blood, sweat, and tears.
So basically you are saying, with other words, that companies, before getting really serious funding, they have to build up the company on that level.
Yeah, there's first phase, second phase, third phase funding.
Okay.
That we can carry the company through. In fact, we had this Greek company that we were working with, and they were looking for fairly under what our minimums are, and we passed on them.
Okay, so next question. If somebody would like to work with you,
Yes.
and join to your company and help in business. So what kind of characteristics are you looking at?
How do you mean, as an employee or
As an employee or
a consultant?
as a consultant?
Okay, so we're looking for a solid educational background. We're looking for experience, and
Okay, stop here. So when you started your company, right, you didn't really have experience. So what would you do if today a college graduate would walk to you and ask your help to start and to work in this business?
Well, it depends on what type.
What would
I'm sorry.
what would be your advice to a college student who is coming to you and asking for your help and to start his career in the financial side in this business?
In capital raising?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, he should obviously work with a company that has presence in the marketplace and gain experience through that, and then.
Yeah, but everybody has to start somewhere. So
Right.
would you accept somebody without actual work experience?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And what would be that material and learning curve that person should go through working with you?
But I would give him certain duties to perform, and coach him through the process, and educate him in the industry. Or her.
Or her. It's a good point. What is the gender ratio in this field?
The gender ratio is strongly male, but one of my new clients today, the CEO is a female.
And why is that? What do you think?
Excuse me?
Why is that is more male oriented, these industries?
I wouldn't know what to tell you there.
Do you think that men don't take women seriously when talking about $1 million businesses?
I take everyone seriously, in fact, and I emulate women in the marketplace and in business. I look towards them as leaders. In fact, our newly acquired board member is female.
And is there any advantage for women joining to this industry? Is there anything women can bring to the table that this man-dominated field is missing, actually?
I'm sure a woman could bring a lot to the table. I don't really gender differentiate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not stereotypical or anything like that at all.
And do you work mainly with public or private companies?
We work with both.
With both. And
Mm-hmm.
what is your preference?
The majority of our clients are private, and then we have the ability to also take them public.
So what is the procedure taking a company public, and what is the time frame usually you are looking at?
We work with our legal department on that, and the time frame could be 6 months. 6 months to organize all that.
So Tamas, the TK word is mainly like US-based company, but as you mentioned before, you work internationally as well in different countries. Like you have a presence in Romania and Spain as well. Am I right?
Yes.
So tell me more about how do you see your company in the future? Let's say in 2 to 5 years term.
How do I see it in revenue or growth?
In the growth, yeah.
We'd like to expand into into Asia, and as well as South America and Canada.
These are really different countries that you actually just mentioned. That is there any specific industry you are focusing, for example, in Canada and in South America? My bet is that you are trying to look at different industries in these countries, right?
Correct. We're looking at mining industries in those countries. In fact, there's a lot of mining companies in Canada and several throughout South America and Central and South America.
What about high-tech companies?
High-tech companies we see the majority of those companies coming from Europe, Scandinavia, Russia.
And what about your European presence?
What about it?
So do you have an intention to more get involved with the European market, and is there any how the market is looking like like in Europe?
Market's looking very well. In fact, we have a client in Switzerland now, and we're looking to open up offices over there.
In Switzerland?
Yes.
So you find the European market, it's a hot market.
Correct.
For the industry and the
right.
The
We're strong with the euro.
So basically, in the next couple of years, you are mainly focusing on the Canadian, South American, and the European markets.
Yes.
And what are those main projects in the future that has the most power to get financing?
Well, and this year we're starting the year with a focus on the biotech and the pharmaceutical and the renewable energy and IT fields, as I mentioned earlier.
When you mention renewable energy, you mean basically wind power, solar panels?
Yes, I mean solar energy, wind power plants. We have a client, we did a project in India last year.
Tamas, thank you very much for being here today with me.
Thank you. Thank you, Brigitte. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.